President, Pakistan abstained in the vote on this resolution. Our vote reflects Pakistan's principled and long-standing position on the question of Western Sahara. Our position on this issue has all along been based on the resolutions of the Security Council itself that have been adopted over the years. This position, however, was not adequately reflected in the resolution that was currently before the Council and which contains certain fundamental changes as compared to previous iterations. We acknowledge the continued efforts and leadership of the United States in striving to achieve a resolution to this long-standing dispute. Pakistan also attaches great importance to its early settlement, particularly as the matter involves friends with whom we share deep historic and fraternal ties. Pakistan's position has remained clear and consistent. We support a just, lasting, and mutually acceptable political solution without preconditions that guarantees the realization of the right to self-determination and takes on board the positions of all parties in conformity with relevant Security Council resolutions and the recommendations of the UN Secretary General and his personal envoy. This resolution, however, does not fully address these important principles, which remain vital to facilitating a mutually acceptable solution. For us, the cardinal principle of self-determination enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations and grounded in international law is and will always remain sacrosanct and inviolable. It constitutes the very foundation of the post-Second World War UN Charter-based international law. President, we recognize that efforts were made incrementally over 3 rounds of drafting during the short period of 1 week to refine the text for accommodating various concerns. However, these changes could not alter its fundamental substance or imbalance. The underlying principle that the people of Western Sahara must determine their own future through the expression of their will has been consistently reaffirmed by the United Nations. Throughout the negotiations process, we consistently advocated for an approach that would garner consensus, bridge divides, and uphold fairness. It is our firm belief that for any peace effort to succeed, all relevant parties must be brought to the table for a truly mutually acceptable outcome. The final text, regrettably, did not reflect such an approach. In conclusion, we hope all concerned parties would engage in negotiations in a spirit of inclusivity and good faith, without any preconditions, ensuring that any future process genuinely reflects the aspirations of the people of Western Sahara and commands the confidence of all stakeholders.
I would not delve too much into the baseless falsehood repeated once again by the Indian delegate, but just present a few facts before the Council. First, Jammu and Kashmir is not, never has been, and will never be an integral part of India. It is a disputed territory whose final disposition is to be decided by the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir through a UN-supervised plebiscite, as demanded by numerous resolutions of the Security Council. This disputed status of Kashmir is acknowledged by the UN and international community. Every official UN map depicts Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir as disputed territory. India is under a legally binding obligation under Article 25 of the UN Charter to implement the resolutions of the Security Council and enable the people of Jammu and Kashmir to exercise their right to self-determination. Mr. President, time and again, the UN High Commissioners for Human Rights, UN Special Procedures, civil society organizations, and independent media outlets have raised deep concerns over the human rights situation in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. President, in today's incredibly intolerant India, secularism is sacrificed at the altar of Hindutva ideology by Hindu fundamentalists who enjoy state office, patronage, and protection. Extremist Hindu groups have expressly called for genocide against Muslims. Genocide Watch has warned of the possibility of the genocide of the Muslims in India and in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. President, therefore we reiterate that the Indian government must uphold its international human rights obligations towards the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and advise the Indian delegate to shun its tactics to deflect attention. I thank you.